Hey there YouTube, I'm back on another deck profile. Today I'm going to be doing my Musketeer deck. So I didn't want to leave you guys hanging for too long, wondering what my Musketeer deck looked like. But this is just to show you guys, you don't need to really spend a whole lot of money to get into the game if you want to build a deck that can function and get some wins in. This deck is my other Nectar deck, so I consider this one the more casual oriented one, but it can still do very well. Where my Arboros deck is my Force 2 Nectar deck, I consider my Musketeer one my Force 1 deck. Now you can go Force 2 with this, but it's not recommended. I prefer to go Force 1 and there's a lot of cards in the deck, like for instance Martina, which can gain critical inherently as a rearguard, which is the reason why you kind of want to go Force 1. So let's get right into it. So I don't have Cecilia, so I only have Cecilia's, the new grade 3 that was supposed to support Cecilia. I guess eventually I'll get Cecilia, otherwise I'll never have it. It's just so hard to find. But yeah, Peony Musketeer Martina, she's like a lesser form in terms of her Vanguard skill. Where Cecilia could call 2, she can look at 5 and call 1 from among them. It doesn't have to be Musketeer, which is good. I like that it's not locking you into a certain archetype. Otherwise, I wouldn't really not be able to build this deck in any real capacity. But we have a rearguard effect as well for her. During the turn she's placed on the deck, she gets 5k plus a critical. So it's really nice, and that's why we run Force 1 and distribute the power across your rearguard lines because of that effect. But basically, 4 of her because we don't have Cecilia. Now the other grade 3, ideally, obviously would be Cecilia, because we don't run it. I run the Maiden of Trailing Rose. Maiden of Trailing Rose, unlike Cecilia, is very easy to get. It's very dirt cheap. So if you want to build this deck, you can go with her. You can run, I don't know, some people want to run Arboros with this. I don't really think, I tried to do that, but it's like Arboros is kind of its own thing. And the deck functions without Musketeers. It doesn't really need Musketeers because it's about calling a bunch of big plant tokens on the field. So it's a different playstyle. And then it just pressures the opponent with critical all the time. It's so annoying. It's like, I think of it as like a plant that just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing, and eventually it just grows and takes everything over. Whereas this is more of like your traditional Nectar style of Musketeer style. So Maiden of Trailing Rose, when placed on Vanguard or rearguard, call 1 plant token, and if the unit is on V, you call 2 plant tokens instead of 1. Now, the thing about her is she calls the little plant tokens. So she calls the ones that are the 5k with no shield. But you can Soul Blast 1, and 3 of your plant tokens get 5k power. That's a Vanguard skill once per turn. So she can turn them into 10k attackers or boosters for a turn. So it's not horrible. I mean, it still does its plant thing. So a good compliment to Martina, because we don't have a lot of the key Musketeer cards in here, as you'll see shortly. So for grade 2s, I am running for Tour, Peony Musketeer Tour. This is the Legion mate for Martina. Those remembering the Legion era, this was one of the Legions, the Legion pair. So it's good to see that they're back in the game. And oh man, if I had to say, this deck would be really cool. But anyway, Tours on the field. When placed on V or R, counterblast 1, retire a rearguard, look at 3, and call 2 with Musketeer or any 1 from among them, and then put the rest of them on the deck in any order. So the nice thing about that is if you check 2 Musketeers, if you see 2 Musketeers out of the 3 cards, you can call 2 Musketeers, so that's +2. If you, or it's a +1, it's a net +1 because you retired a rearguard. But if you don't have a Musketeer, you can still call something, so I do like that, and then it cycles the other cards to the bottom of the deck for later. So overall, very good new addition for the Musketeers. So we won 4 of it. Next time, running 4 Lily of the Valley Musketeer Calvat. When placed, he gets 5k until end of turn for each of your grade 0 rearguards. So he doesn't work that much with Martina, but he does work with Maiden of Trailing Rose, and Maiden of Trailing Rose can use her effect as a rearguard or Vanguard, so he still will tend to use his effect every so now and then. Or it's often enough that it works. For the other grade 2 I'm running Spinach Advisor. When your other rear guard is placed by a card's ability, it gets 3k power. So I didn't really have a lot of other options to run based off of what I have. There are a lot of Musketeers that I do not have. I don't have Rebecca, I don't have Mirka. There's another one that I can't remember the name of right now, but I also don't have that one. And I don't have Cecilia, obviously. So, missing, I think, at least 3, maybe if not 4 of the Musketeers. But I have Calvant, so it's not like I don't have none of them, I just have like very few of them. So Calvant's in there. So for grade 1s, we are running the grade 1 Sentinel. People probably say, why aren't you running the Draw PG? Well, that's because it's in the Sephiroth deck, and that's my main Neo Nectar deck. This is kind of like a for fun backup deck that's a work in progress sort of thing. So I'm running him, and when you see the trigger lineup, it'll make sense to you. So we're running him, and then we're running Fruits Basket Elf, 4 of this, retire, so you Soul Blast and retire, call up to 2 plants, 2R. If your Vanguard is grade 3, those plant tokens get 5k. So they're big tokens on the turn that you call them if you have a grade 3 Vanguard. So pretty much essential. You can use this to combo with calling a Calvant if you get him from the deck. You use this to call the token before you call him, though. Then next we're running another new Musketeer that came out along Martina and Trois. So we're running what is this? Anthurium Musketeer Gaston. So he during the turn he was placed from deck, he gets 10k power. So he's just like well, he's actually, in my opinion, kind of tends to be better than Calvant, unless you have like 2 plants on the field. When you, like I said before, with the Fruits Basket Elf, you'll get the plants, or Trailing Rolls will get the plants, and then he will come out from the deck and power up to like 10 plus 10 or 15 or 5. Whereas this guy, just straight up call him, he gets 10. He's 18 on the turn he's placed from deck. So very good target for your Musketeer calls. So definitely 4 of him. He's a Musketeer, you gotta run him. And then the last one is my what is this? Anifa. So I've got 2 of this in this one and 2 in the other deck. So this is my 2 of tech choice for the final grade 1, because the plant tokens in the same column as it are powered up, and they buy 5 and 5k shield. So that she turns the token that's in the same column as her into a big token. And she, yeah, like I said in the previous video, you can use her to make them not be able to be retired, or they can't be chosen. They can't be chosen by the opponent's effects. So, yeah. So, 2 of her. And the trigger lineup is, we gotta run Daniel because he's a Musketeer. Critical, but it's very straightforward. It's just 12 critical. You know me. It's not every day that you see 12 critical deck, but if I can run a 12 critical deck, I'm going to run a 12 critical deck. And this is a deck that can benefit from 12 crit because Daniel's a Musketeer, and you don't have a whole lot of other plays. Like, you superior call from the deck with the Musketeer's effects, so you're thinning the deck, and then that improves the likelihood of you checking a trigger. And if you have a lot of criticals, you're going to hit criticals. You don't need the draws because you mill through the deck with your calls. You still have Sentinels, still have the heals, everything's still good in that regard. But you just straight up go for game, and you force 1, and you go for game, and you got critical pressure with stuff like this on the rearguard circle. So it still works the way it's designed. So I'm pretty satisfied with the deck for now. I really just need to get the other Musketeers, and I'll probably do an update to this deck in the future if I can manage to get those cards. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know what you guys think of Musketeers, how they stack up against Sephiroth. Which one would you feel more confident running in like a locals or something? Probably Sephiroth. Even if you had Cecilia, I feel like Sephiroth. Like pure Musketeers, meaning with Cecilia, and the others that I don't have, like Mirka and Pansy. That was the other one. Pansy and what is it? Rebecca. Yeah, if you have those, then I still think that deck is probably still worse than Arbros, just because Arbros with Force 2 is just really, really good. It's just a very consistent deck. So anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.